Hey guys, appreciate you all being here. Super excited to step in for Carl White again. I know that he always really appreciates you guys joining in and learning from us and adopting our philosophies, helping more families, making more money, helping the industry become more successful. And I just want to thank you again for joining me today. So I see we have 9 people on the call, more people coming in. Gary, Donna, Abby. Cool. Thanks, guys. Cool. Go ahead and use the chat box. Let's make sure everything's working okay. I think we used a different platform last time, so go ahead and use the chat box. Do you guys hear me and see me okay? Yes. Okay. Thanks, James. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So now I see where the chat is. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool, guys. So what we are going to chat about today is our full daily success plan. I think that's a great place to get started with us. Last week, we went into detail about database marketing, calling your past clients. We went over a fully focused marketing campaign on mailers, emails, Facebook, text messages. We went over the whole shebang. This database strategy that we covered is one of our 4 main strategies. There's 4 fundamental ways that we teach at the Mortgage Marketing Animals to bring in more business. And in fact, like with everything that we teach and do here, everything that we teach is based off practicality. It's what we practice in our own branches. For those of you that may not know, Carl does run one of the nation's most successful national divisions. We have a team of around 70 loan officers. Last month, we did 178 million in volume, which I think was 818 units. And what we teach, the information I'm sharing with you guys today, it comes from the place of what our own loan officers are doing to get those results. Okay, so this is just what we do. There's a lot of ways to bring in business. There's a ton of digital ways and social media, a lot of cool products and softwares and technology that we use that you'll hear about on the podcast, things that we teach about. But you know what? We do not care. We do not focus on them unless we're doing these 4 things. All right, 4 fundamental ways to bring in business that we call the daily success plan, the DSP. Like with anybody successful, we have to have a plan in place, a strategy, a system, a process, a way that we bring in more loans. Like the people that I know that do, like, let's say 15 loans in a month or 20 loans in a month or 50 loans in a month, heck, even 7, 8 loans in a month. It doesn't just happen. They don't just cross their fingers and go, hey, I don't know where I'm getting these next 8 loans from, but I bet they'll come in. They have a plan. They know exactly where it's coming from. You guys with me? In fact, use the chat box here. Let me know. Have you guys heard of Carl's daily success plan before? Give me a yes or a no in the chat box so I can kind of gauge the crowd here. Have you guys ever learned that, Carl's DSP? Donna said no. Okay, cool. Cool. Kim says yes. Perfect. What about you, George, Gary, Charles? What about you guys? Abby says no. Okay, cool. All right, cool. What about the rest of you? Charles, Gary, George, James, Jim, Lawrence, Vernon. Thanks for being here, guys. Have you ever heard of Carl's daily success plan? All right, good. We have a good mixed crowd here. Some are saying yes, some are saying no. So what we're teaching here today, this will be a great class. It's how we prospect to bring in more referrals. This is the secret sauce. Guys, this is a plan to bring in more business, to produce more referral partners, to build better relationships with agents in the area, to make sure things are not slipping through the cracks, to make sure all of our bases are covered, to really make sure we're converting all of our deals at the highest rate. This simple plan will cover all of these things. So this will be a great class for everybody here. Now, don't be afraid to ask questions, all right? We can all use the chat box. Looks like it's working for everybody. So if you need me to stop, you have a question, I'll be checking it periodically throughout the presentation. Feel free to use the chat box so we can ask something. Lawrence had just found the chat box now. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. So let's get into the plan, guys, the DSP, Daily Success Plan. Before I tell you what to do, let's first talk about how to do it. I think that's even more important in a lot of senses. When we prospect first thing in the morning, okay? We prospect first thing in the morning, literally from, let's say, 9 to 11, to get it done, to be proactive rather than reactive. I think we all know what that means, but I didn't really have a clear understanding until I met Carl. Like, being reactive is responding to the things around me. I don't have a choice. It could be an email, a phone call, a fire, a file, a family member, a friend, an accident, a mistake, a celebration, the way I feel. These things are unpredictable. There's no way you can predict what's going to happen. And they demand our attention, our time, and they take away from us being proactive. Here's an example. If I'm answering a call, I'm being reactive. If I'm making a call, I'm being proactive, right? So why we focus on our prospecting first thing in the morning is to be proactive. It is to get it done. I think we can all agree on this call. It happens to me and Carl all the time. If we don't make our calls first thing in the morning, guys, it does not happen. It gets in our way all the time. Something does. So we're going to prospect first thing in the morning, 9 to 11. We don't call people because we think they're happy and giddy to talk to Mike and Carl. We do it because we actually get it done. Now, for some people, like somebody said to me the other day, but Mike, won't they be working at 9? Is that really the best time to call? Hey, it's better than any other time. There's really no good time to call. Try 1 o'clock, try 5 p.m., try the weekend. The statistics are really around the same for open rates, conversations. So we might as well just call them first thing in the morning. Now, the average loan officer has reported that they prospect for less than 1 hour a week. I bet there's a lot of people on this call prospecting for less than 1 hour a week. That's the average statistic. We want to prospect for 1 to 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. Monday through Thursday. So let's say we're doing that 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. That's 8 hours a week, guys. I'm doing in 1 week what they're doing in 2 months. What we're going to do in 1 week together, Monday through Thursday, they're doing in 2 months, guys, because we're prospecting 8 times as much, doing simple things that bring in the most loans. Now on Fridays, we're going to hang out. All right. We like to help people transition to taking that day off, to using that as a meeting day or as a weekend where they're really taking the whole day off. But we've got our war paint on Monday through Thursday. We're prospecting hard and heavy first thing in the morning. And if we do this, we shouldn't have to work on Fridays or on the weekends, especially as we build a team and we hire help and we leverage other people. It makes it easier and easier to do that. So the plan we have today is Monday through Thursday, 9 to 11, literally before we even check our email or check our voicemail or social media. And that sounds crazy to a lot of people. It did to me at first, but now I get it. All right. Like, let's think, I'll give you guys some good examples here before we really get into it. Like David. David calls me the other day and goes, Mike, I get it now, man. My ex-wife called me first thing in the morning. I had a weird feeling about it. I thought, hey, maybe I should just let it go. If it's important, if it's about the kids, she'll certainly leave me a message. Well, wait, he answered it and said, Mike, my whole mood changed. My whole attitude changed. It was a bad conversation. I couldn't make my calls. That's called being reactive. You guys with me? That's being reactive. Make your calls first. All right, make your calls first. Right? Just like Rick, he had an email exchange with a client, spent their gift money, ruined the deal. It got heated. He didn't want to make his calls for the rest of the day. That's called being reactive. That's why we try not to check our email, our voicemail, and social media until we've prospected. Once we've done that for an hour or 2 hours, great. Now let's get to it. Now let's answer questions. All right. So before we get into it, that's kind of just a big overview. Are you guys tracking with me? Give me a yes or a no in the chat box here to make sure this is all adding up so far. We want to plan to bring in consistent loans. We're going to prospect for an hour, 2 hours in the morning. Donna says yes, exclamation point. Thanks, Donna. James, yes, cool. Yes, yep, I like it. Cool, thank you, Abby. Brian, yes, awesome, guys. Yes, cool, I love it. Look, I'm telling you guys, this is really serious. People that have a plan and a strategy in place, they do way better than those that just throw things against the wall and see what sticks. We have to have a plan in place. Charles says, I'm not seeing the chat box this time. Okay, there should be a box for the chat, but if anything, I'll keep reading them off to you guys. So I appreciate you letting me know, Charles. So we want a plan in place. And what I'm going to teach you is a plan of like the most top producing lenders in the nation. In fact, let me try to share my screen. Let me see if I could do this. Share screen. All right, this should do the trick. This should do the trick. All right, give me, I need somebody to help me out. Do you guys see my screen here? Say yes or no in the chat box if you see my screen. Yes, thank you, James. Cool, so let's go. Perfect, this is a perfect example. We're gonna go to the Freedom Club. This is our coaching program, as I bet many of you guys know. Carl talks about our program a lot on our podcast, and those are most of the people that we interview are our current active members. An example of what I'm talking about here, guys, is this. Look at Kevin Brierton. closing 33 loans this month, and I took off Thursday and Friday during one of the busiest weeks ever. Carl, Tammy, Freedom Club, you gave me my life back and helped me pour lighter fluid on my business. Now, I don't show you this to brag about Kevin. It's certainly not to brag about ourselves. I know you guys all know Carl already and what we do here, but I'm showing you this because we're going to go over Kevin Brierton's plan. We're going to go over what this guy does every single day of the week that's helped him get to where he's at and what will help him get to where he's going. All right. So I think this is an awesome example here, right? We could take a look at same guy, different month. Freedom is closing 8 million this month, and I'm taking Fridays off. Is that a cool example or what, guys? Right? Like I said, when you have systems and processes in place to bring in loans and systems and processes and a team to close loans, then we end up with a result like this. I don't know if I mentioned this last week for those of you that joined me, but why I love what I do here with Carl and working with people like Kevin and providing results like this. I come from a whole family of people in this industry. My mom is still a lender to this day. My dad was a top 1% real estate agent in Naples and Marco Island for years. Most of my time growing up, I remember spending time in that office. My childhood was never like this. Never. My parents so greatly wish that they had met Carl White 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Our whole lives would have been different. And that's why it gives me chills seeing things like this and how happy this guy is enjoying his success and helping so many people. And that is what we are going to talk about today, guys. We are going to talk about Kevin Brierton's daily success plan because it is the same one that we taught him, the DSP. Was that cool though, guys? Give me a thumbs up or give me a yes. Was that cool to see Kevin there? Kind of give you guys an example. Donna asked a good question. She says, what positions make up an LO's team? That's a great question. And to a certain degree, different companies, different loan originators will add different people to their team. So it's not necessarily so set in stone necessarily. It is kind of flexible, and that is one of the cool parts about our business, that people do things differently and creatively that work effectively for them. But I'd say the main positions, Donna, absolutely would be a processor, right? So somebody who's hands down really just working with our underwriting department to get these loans processed. And that's all that they do. All right. They're just strictly a processor, clearing conditions, documents, things of that nature. And some people will offload and delegate more or less activities to their processors than others. But to the main point of their role, they're simply processing, right? Contract to close activities. Another very relevant role, Kevin has 3 on his team, would be a loan officer assistant, an LOA. In our company, like in Carl's organization, we call them LPs, loan partners. We find it's the same role. They get paid the same. Their title's just different. We find that nobody has a problem, like agents or clients, they have no problem working with your partner, but nobody wants to work with your assistant, right, guys? So we call them loan partners. It makes them feel better and everybody else involved. So that would be the other position, Donna, would really be the main 2 at least, would be a processor and a loan officer assistant. The loan officer assistant, just to kind of maybe make some differences of the 2 roles. The loan officer assistant is more customer facing than our processor. In fact, in our office, the loan partner works hand in hand with the processor. So the processor is like a second pair of eyes, but that they're not really reaching out to the client. They're not really customer facing. That's the loan partner's job. The loan partner is going to clear conditions, collect documents, update the client, answer questions, answer the phone, perhaps do things with our email and social media, follow up with leads if we want them to. They're certainly going to be more like customer facing, really like more of like a partner, if you will, like a real true blue administrative assistant partner, rather than the processor, which has a very niche and specific role in that processing department. Does that make sense, Donna? Okay. Alrighty, cool. So let's keep moving forward. So those are some of the positions that do make up an LO's team. Not to say that there's not more, right? Like sometimes we'll get a marketing assistant. We'll have a virtual assistant that makes calls for us. We could have an ops manager at some point, and we have a lot of assistants. So there's a lot of other creative roles we can add. But just to keep it very simple today, the 2 main ones are a processor and LOA. Absolutely. A good example here is Kevin has 3. He's pushing 30, 40 loans a month. He has 3 assistants trying to hire his 4th. A good rule of thumb, Donna, is that we want to have 1 full-time employee for every 8 to 10 loans a month that we're doing. For every 8 to 10 loans a month that we're doing, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, let's just do some math here, guys, just really quickly. All right, let's say I make the average $2,000 a commission. That would be the average throughout the country in our industry. So if I do 10 loans a month and I make $2,000 a commission, that's 20 grand, right? That's what I'm making. Let's say my assistant's making, I don't know, 40, 50, 60K, somewhere in that ballpark would be very average, especially for their salary. Maybe they get some basis points, 5 basis points, capped at a certain amount of loans. But to keep it simple, let's say that they're making 50, 60K. That's a good average range for a good assistant here. That's nowhere near 20 grand, right, guys? I mean, that's closer to like $5,000, $6,000. So even at $6,000, I'm still taking home 14, and I'm not doing nearly as much work. I'm way out of the weeds in the files. I can now scale my business and bring in another 10 loans, where then I'm going to go hire assistant number 2. It's just a no-brainer. I mean, guys, if we're doing 8 to 10 loans a month and we're really struggling to sell more because we're so busy, we absolutely should talk to our company or take it upon ourselves to hire good, experienced, licensed help. Which, by the way, Donna, those are the only people we hire. All right. We don't like to train people that are brand new in the industry, that are green. It's a different school of thought. You can find those people easier. You can pay them less. Sure, you can train them to do things your way. We find it to be a big mistake for most of many. All right. We like to hire experienced, licensed people. We'll even hire them remote in a different state and get them licensed in ours if they are experienced. We seek them out. We pay the extra money for them, and we find it to be way more profitable and way more efficient and way more effective, way better for us than hiring somebody that is brand spanking new. All right. That may not be a good fit for the industry, that may not like this, may not make it, can't pass a test, takes everything that we teach them and runs and goes and starts their own thing. We evade those by getting licensed, experienced people and know that they like this role and they know that they want to do it. All right. So before we go back to the plan, that was a little side note. Great question, by the way, Donna. I'm sure that helped a lot of people on this call. And before we move on, did that make sense, guys? Does that totally make sense about team building? I know that's not the point of the call today, but team building, the roles, the who does what. Does that all make sense, guys? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Kim said yes, thanks. Cool. Cool. Everybody, does that make sense? Abby, Brian, Charles, Fanny, Gary, George. Yep, good. Tony Moore. Hey, Tony. Good to see you, Tony. Gary, awesome. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's get back to it. All right. So absolutely, you will need some help, Donna. I love that you asked that question, because if you do what we're talking about today, you will absolutely need some help probably sooner than you think. In fact, let's keep going down this rabbit hole before we talk about the DSP. This is a very, very important piece of information. What I'm about to share with you guys is a strategy for finding the right help when you need it all the time. Okay. How to hire the best people. What we do to actively onboard talented, experienced, licensed help. This information is for anybody that does the hiring themselves. And if that's not you, pass this along to who does the hiring in your company. All right. The strategy here is that we are interviewing even when we're not hiring. You with me? We're interviewing even when we're not hiring. Why do we do that? What does that look like? Well, think about it. When you guys need help, the last thing we want to do is put out an ad, see who bites, produce resumes, interview them, do the whole song and dance, make them offers. That's going to take 30, 60 days. It's too late. You guys need help now, right? You're getting burnt out. You're maybe you already have an assistant. You have a processor getting burnt out. It's no bueno. You don't want nobody wants to be in that position for too long. So that's why we're always interviewing, because Carl calls this his 90-day box. When we need help, we don't then put out the ad, then look for the help. We've already done it. We go into our 90-day box of people we've interviewed over the last 90 days, and we give them a quick call and we hire them. It's that simple. In our company, we're always interviewing for 3 positions every month, whether we need them or not. One is a dialer. It's a little bit of an advanced strategy, but it's something that we talk about a lot, where we hire a VA, normally very often overseas, that just slams the phone and makes calls for us. They call agents, they call leads, they call our database, anybody we want them to call. We tell them what we want them to say and how to handle it, and they call. All right. So that's one position, would be a dialer. Carl calls them a freedom caller because they free up our time to do other stuff. So freedom caller. A dialer would be the technical term. And that's one person we're always looking for. Carl thinks of this person like the French fry guy at McDonald's. Always the least paid, always the most profitable. This is like a absolute winner on our team. Would be a dialer. 2 would be a processor, like I mentioned earlier for Donna, right? A processor. 3 is an LP, a loan partner, synonymous with LOA, loan officer assistant, same thing, but we're always interviewing for that next loan partner. Now, we're interviewing even when we're not hiring, right? So what we're going to say to them if we're not hiring is, let's say I'm interviewing my man Tony Moore here. If I'm interviewing Tony, I'm going to say, hey, Tony, my business is blowing up. Man, I see this role being available in the next 30, 60, maybe 90 days. I love your resume and I want to get to know you, see if we're stronger together than apart. And I just don't want to hold you back. Look, the role's not here now. If you need another job, go ahead and take it. Let's talk about where you're at. But either way, if I think you're the right fit, I will be calling you when the role's available, sooner than later. So we're honest, we're forthcoming, we're not misleading, we're certainly not lying, right? You guys with me? I mean, we're being truthful here, but we're setting up a pipeline, a bench. Carl calls it a bench. He's got a sideline of players to bring in the game if he needs them. All right. So that's what we're going to do: a dialer, a processor, an LOA. Now, the people that we hire are licensed and experienced, or they're willing to get licensed in our state within 60 days, or to the understanding they do not have a job. They need to get licensed in 60 days. In that 60-day time frame, we'll have them do anything and everything under the sun that they can do per compliance, right? So I'm not a compliance guy. Check with your company and what they can and can't do if they're not licensed yet, but we'll still have them do anything that they can do to give us back time in our business. But we do not make the mistake anymore of hiring people that are not experienced. Like Brad Braun. All right, Brad Braun has like 157 loans in process. He's one of our really dear clients of ours, been working with us for a while. Brad hired something like 6 or 7 people last year. And when we were talking about this one day, you just see his head go down. He goes, guys, I had 5 people that came and went this year because I made the mistake of hiring new people. Either they got fired or they weren't good. We had to let them go. The one person that stuck around that really is doing a killer job is the one experienced person, like the mortgage marketing animal said. You could just see it in his face. I hear it every day, like literally every single day. I have like 12 conversations at least with lenders. Somebody always brings up how they're having a tough time because they have this new assistant that just doesn't know what to do. Now they're spending even more time trying to train this person. So the best person for this role is typically a loan officer, another loan originator that doesn't like originating. They don't like selling. They're burnt out of it. Maybe they're just not too good. Primarily be somebody that's been doing this for 2, 3, 5 years, sometimes way more, right? But let's say at least 2 years, that knows how to close a loan. They did a whopping 6 loans all last year, but they've been at this for a long time. They're not new. They're not new to the business, right? They're really struggling to make ends meet, perhaps, but they know how to close a loan. That sometimes makes the best LOA. Somebody that wants to take people from contract to close. They like doing the loan work. What they don't like and what they're not good at is selling, like shaking hands, kissing babies, meeting agents, doing what we're going to talk about today. Spending money on advertising, following up with leads, networking. It's just not in their wheelhouse. They're either not good at it, or they don't like doing it, or they've been doing it for 20 years and they're burnt out, and they'd rather just make 50 or 60K with the bonuses in order to close loans. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, if you hear me right now and you're thinking, geez, that might be me, there is nothing wrong with that. Company needs good loan partners. We would not be able to get by without ours at all. I'll look at it like Batman and Robin, right? Like Robin is a superhero. Robin saves the day. Batman would have died a long time ago if it wasn't for Robin. Right? Robin is a superhero, but you have to acknowledge like what seat on the bus that is, right? So for these cats, they do way better in a role like this where they're going to make a guaranteed 60K and not have to worry about commissions and being on the roller coaster. Now, for you guys as being originators, all you have to do is my plan. All right, we're going to go over the daily success plan today, how to prospect, how to bring in loans. If you are doing these 4 fundamental strategies consistently, you'll have no problem ramping up, being very busy, having a very fruitful pipeline, and then hiring your own LOA over time. But that would make a great an LOA. all right? Somebody who's just not a killer salesperson. They know how to do the loan. They know guidelines. You'll teach them your processes and systems and operations, but you don't have to teach them how to close a loan. That makes the best assistant, okay? Great questions, guys. So did that help? I see some questions here. Gary, you asked an awesome question. I'm going to answer here in a second, but give me a yes or no. Did that help, guys? Just going into a quick crash course on hiring help and how we do that. We're interviewing even if we're not hiring. We do that, by the way. I should have said this. My gosh. How we do that is we leave the hiring ad up. We use wisehire.com, W-I-Z-E hire, wisehire. Which puts your ad on like 50 sites. Monster, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. It puts it out on 50 sites. Okay. And now we're going to produce consistent resumes coming in all the time, right? All the time. We're going to look at those resumes once a month to set up a data interview. Carl likes to do this one Friday a month for a few hours. One Friday a month for a few hours, he'll interview to do what I'm talking about. Now, he never takes that ad down. It costs $200, $300, $400 a month. We look at it like a reoccurring business cost. All right. It's just part of the game. We pay it every month. We never take it down. That way, we're always producing resumes. This is going to help us in 3 significant ways. I want everybody to jot down 3 significant ways. I never want you to forget this. Pass this along to whoever does the hiring at your company if it's not you. 3 ways. Number 1, is what we're talking about here. It's for growth. When you need help, you need help. You don't want to have to wait, bury yourself into a deeper hole in your current team. That's no bueno. We need the help as we're growing and expanding our team, right? Like if I'm your assistant and we're getting overwhelmed, we're doing 20 loans now, you got to get me a mic number 2 right away, or otherwise I'm too stressed. All right. It's not good for anybody. You guys with me? That's number 1. Number 2 is, well, what if mic number 1 doesn't work out? What if I'm not a good fit? What if we don't like working together? What if I, met the love of my life? I moved to the Big Apple. All right. What if, God forbid, I got hit by a bus? These are things that we can't predict. This is real life we're talking about, guys. Number 2 is if we need to replace somebody, they retire, they quit, we let them go, good, bad, ugly, whatever happens, good and bad, at least we can get somebody quickly. If I give you my 2 weeks, you better hope that you interviewed some more people, right? So number 2 is as your people leave your company, which they certainly will for good and bad, we have more people in the 90-day box. That's reason number 2. Like think about, guys, if we started doing this 60 days ago, right? Like think about that, how different things may be for you. That's number 2. Number 3 is in a very cool, non-judgmental, non-threatening, not non-judgmental, but non-threatening way, in a cool, non-threatening way. Don't you think mic number 1 is going to work harder when he sees mic number 2 being interviewed? When your processor sees you interviewing another processor, don't you think they're going to work harder? When your assistant sees you interviewing another assistant, don't you think they're going to work harder? You don't even have to say anything, right? Because you're interviewing for growth. You're not interviewing to replace them. You're not doing it to keep them on their toes. It's just a byproduct of what happens, right? So number 3, that's just, it keeps everybody on their toes. So that was just a little crash course, guys, on hiring good help. Did that help, guys? Give me another yes, all right? Because I know we've got more people joining in on the call. So did that help? Yes, Kim. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate all you guys. Good strategy. Thank you, James. Yes, thank you, guys. I like using the chat box. It definitely helps me help you guys. So Gary asked a really great question here. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, it was Abby. I'm sorry. It was Abby. Asked an excellent question. She asked, why a W-2 processor over third party? Good question. Good question. It's because of scalability, Abby. It's because of scalability. What you have to do in this business is think to yourself, if I continue paying this processor, this third party company, this assistant, this way, and I quadruple my sales, will this still make sense? That's how you know if something's scalable or not. A third party processing company typically is not. In most cases is not. It may make sense if you're doing 2 or 3 loans a month. That may make sense today. It could. It absolutely could. If we're doing 10, 12 loans a month, it probably absolutely does not. And let's look at how and why. All right, calculator. What I hear, and Abby, you can feel free to insert in your own numbers, but a good average range of what I've seen third-party processing companies charge over the last year is anywhere from $700 to $1,000. Not to say I haven't seen less, not to say I haven't even seen more, but $700 to $1,000 is pretty average. Okay. Abby, in fact, let's use your number. What, and if you don't have one, that's okay. But like, Abby, what is the 750? Perfect example, right? 700 to 1,000 is what I'm seeing. So let's use that example, Abby. At 750 bucks a file, look, it makes sense at 2 loans a month, 3 loans a month. Totally. Not saying that's where you're at, Abby, but that's when it would make sense. Now, if you're doing, let's say 10 loans a month, 10 loans a month times 750 a file, 75,000 or $7,500 a month, times that by 12 months, $90,000 a year. $90,000 a year if you're doing 10 loans a month with a third-party contract processing company. Doesn't make sense. We can pay a processor less than that, and there'll be an internal, in-house person on my team, right? It's not another company, and I don't know where they're at with things. And some processing companies are certainly better than others. I'm not trying to rag on third-party processing companies, but this person's in-house. They're in the office with me. They're on my team. It's an internal employee of mine, right, that I get to control in terms of business, right? And making sure things are getting done the way that I want them to get done, right? Because they're my employee. So Abby, that's why it wouldn't make sense. All right. So it may make sense at 2 loans a month, does not make sense at like, let's say 10 loans a month and beyond. And that's before then we would want to start looking for an in-house processor or an in-house assistant, because that's when things become way more profitable. All right. Kim says, this is great info, but I need to jump. Please send a replay if available. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Kim. Really appreciate you. Have a great day. I'd get with Valerie on the replay if you guys do that. That would be great. So did that make sense, guys, on the third party? Before we move forward to the plan, I'm really big in just making sure we're all on the same page. Did that make sense, guys? Why it makes sense to hire somebody in-house versus a third-party processing? Lauren says it did. Great. Same way, guys, we got to be really careful about how we pay our assistants. All right. So even when we have that internal person, Abby, it's still really important that we're careful about our bonus structures. Like, for example, I've seen people, like a guy in Texas, that we helped quadruple his business. He quadrupled his sales. And because of the way he was paying his assistants, practically just based off of comp and basis points, well, their income quadrupled as well. And next you know, he had 2 assistants both making over 150K each. It's not good. That's not scalable. That's not profitable. That's not effective. Heck, we're in the same state. We've got assistants. We're paying them 50, 60K each. He's paying them 150K each because he worked a bad deal for himself. He didn't think about, well, what happens if I actually quadruple my sales? Right? They were getting like paid like something like 20 basis points, 25 basis points along with their small base salary. That's why we do it the other way around. We pay a higher salary and a smaller bonus, 5 basis points, 4 basis points, if that. Carter likes to do random appreciation bonuses. He finds this to work really well for him and for his team, so they don't expect the bonus. They appreciate it even more. It's not always financial. It could be a day off, a trip, a dinner, a celebration, a concert, something like that they really appreciate. Carl likes doing that. Otherwise, we're going to do like 4 or 5 basis points and cap them at like 10 to 15 loans a month, somewhere in there, to not diminish level of service. So great crash course, guys, on hiring help. All right, let's interview even when we're not hiring. Let's look for talented, experienced, licensed help. Let's pay them a good salary. Carl likes to do 10 to 20% over his competition. And then we'll work out small bonuses, small bonuses that we're going to cap at a certain amount. That's how we're really going to grow and scale our team and our sales. So now that we spoke about hiring help, let's talk about how to get busier. All right. Like for those of you that are trying to work into the place where you are making sales, right? And getting to that place where you are so consistent that you can hire somebody. I'm just looking over the notes here. Cool. Lori said, I'm glad someone's willing to take me on as a brand new LO a few months ago. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. This will certainly go a long way for everybody on this call. New, experienced. This is going to be great. There's 4 fundamental things that we do to bring in loans on a consistent, forever basis. Guys, I forgot that Kevin Brierton's still on the screen, so that's funny. We're going to talk about what this guy does to bring in all of his business, okay? We're going to talk about right now, right here, what this guy does to bring in all these loans. Again, we're going to prospect first thing in the morning, 1 to 2 hours a day to be proactive rather than reactive. This is what we're going to do on Mondays. is Thor's hammer. After the Marvel god with the big hammer. You guys have maybe heard Carl say this before. It's a silly term he's created for our most powerful serious strategy, Thor's hammer. This is an analogy for landing one-on-one meetings with top agents in our area. All right, that's all this is. Us making phone calls to meet with the best agents in town. That's what we do on Monday mornings. This in itself is an hour-long class, and perhaps I can get back on here again and go over the whole plan, or maybe Carl will. But Thor's hammer in a nutshell. Let's just take like 5 minutes to go over this one. All right, real estate agents. There's a few things that I've realized that make or break our results with agents. I'll teach you guys the 6 most important things I found about Carl's strategy. Things that will make or break your results working with them, trying to meet with them, trying to become friends, trying to earn their business. There's 6 things that absolutely will, in a big way, make or break your results. Before we get into them, let's look at the big picture here. The 30,000-foot view of what we do on Mondays is that we're calling agents with the right script that I'll teach you to get them on a one-on-one meeting like this. This is how you really build a relationship with an agent. You hang out with them one-on-one, whether that's in person where you're shaking hands, or if that's virtually online like this. I would recommend virtually, not just because of COVID, all right, not just to be safe, but I'm recommending this because it's more effective, it's more profitable, it's more efficient. People are going on more meetings this way. And I get this all the time from different people that like come up with like limiting beliefs and excuses on why not to do this. They think, oh, Mike, I'm in a really cutthroat competitive market, man. That doesn't work over here in the Big Apple. Mike, I'm in Topeka, Kansas, man, or I'm in this small town in Idaho. Like, man, that's never going to work over here. We have people doing this all over the nation, guys. This works. Small towns, big cities, competitive, not. Trust me, this technology is working for us just as well as our in-person meetings, which is surprising. Maybe you're surprised. I was too. When I looked at the data with Carl, we were both like scratching our head, like, I don't get it. How are these things working as well? What we've come to realize is we don't have a magic power in person. Shaking their hand, it's just an eye-to-eye thing. It's an eye-to-eye thing. And by visually seeing the other person, whether it's FaceTime, Zoom, Skype, GoToMeeting, like the platform we're all using right now. Zoom's probably the most popular. We have no problem developing great relationships with agents. To even show you how well this works, we'll meet agents in other states that we're licensed in. We'll meet agents in other areas that have higher loan sizes, because we all know we get paid more on a bigger loan, right? It's like the same amount of work. Do we all agree? $600,000 loan is just as much work as a $200,000 loan. So why not meet some agents in some other areas? We don't have to travel there anymore. We don't have to drive 2 hours to the city, take the whole day to do it. We can meet them online like this for 15 minutes. We're all good to go. So what we're doing on Mondays is that we're reaching out to agents to land meetings with top agents to earn their trust in their business, to build referral partner relationships. That is what any top producer I know predicates their business on. It's great network connections, agents in their business, in their community that give them business, and then they create a big database and pipeline that then they get more business from. The agents is where this all starts from. Now you can plug and play this strategy with financial advisors, with CPAs, with attorneys, with other business owners. You certainly could. None will be as effective as the right real estate agent, far and wide. This is like the meat and the potatoes of what we see working best. So 6 things. I said there were 6 things that make or break our results with agents, right? Number 1 is the most important for sure. Number one will, if you don't do this, you will become disillusioned about this industry. You will think real estate agents suck. You will start to doubt yourself. You'll think that we don't know what we're doing or talking about over here, which is not true. None of these things are true. You're just talking to the wrong person. And that's number 1, is we want to meet with qualified agents only. We only spend time with agents that have enough business to go around. They have an abundance of buyers, an abundance of prospects, an abundance of marketing, advertising, their reputation in the community. They work with a ton of people. Carl calls this fishing where the fish are. We can't catch fish in a pond with no fish in it, right? Makes no sense. But we can catch fish in a pond with a lot of fish in it, even if there's other fishermen. They're all catching fish at different times, different types of fish, different amounts of fish. Some know the pond better than others, and they're able to work it better that way. That doesn't mean I can't catch a fish or two as well, right? Fish where the fish are, guys. It is a flawed marketing strategy. I'm telling everybody right now, it is a flawed marketing strategy to try to meet with every part-time agent, new agent, listing agent, struggling agent that you come across. They can't help you. You can't help them. It is a zero-sum game. Carl looked at me once. He said, Mike, you see that palm tree outside? I said, yeah. I thought he was going to like want me to do something to the tree, right? Like he's going to make me chop down the tree or something. I'm like, yeah. Why? He's like, you talking to a part-time agent? It's like you talking to that palm tree, Mike. It's just not the best use of your time. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing will change. So we spend time with the heavy hitters. Now, I know what you may be thinking, but Mike, why would they want to meet with me? How am I going to help them out? Why would they give me business? They're busy. They work with other people, right? We just find this to be the most effective strategy. They give us business too by using the right strategy, the right scripting approach. We meet with a ton of them, and we get business. For every 10 that we meet, 1 to 2 start to refer to us. I'll say that again. For every 10 agents we meet, 1 to 2 start to refer to us, guys. It's as simple as that. So you might as well meet with the top agents, all right? Because those numbers might be 1 or 2 for every 100 part-time agents. My gosh, I mean, it is just very, very exponentially. It's just so much harder to really grow this if we're meeting the wrong people. So we're going to meet with the top dogs that all work with other lenders. That's okay. They're all busy, but they're going to give you the time of day too, and a percentage of them will work with you. Laquita here said, do you have a script? I love it. Great minds think alike, because that will be the next thing here is scripting. That's going to be number 2. So I'm ahead of you, and we will absolutely cover the script here. Yes, absolutely. That's a big part of this, right? Is just knowing what to say. But first of all, I do want you guys to understand, because this is so important, because this is such a big deal, please do not think to yourself, hey, I like Mike and Carl's idea. Let me start with the small fries and work my way up to the big dogs, and let me just practice and blah, blah, blah. Let me learn more. I hear this all the time, like literally all the time. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I would never do that. These are things people have confided in me and told me have held them back. But I've heard people not starting this because they're waiting for a better time of day, or a better script, a better list, a better camera, a better landing page, a better mortgage knowledge, like they're trying to learn the business better. They're trying to lose 10 pounds. I've heard that. I've heard I'm waiting to get my new outfit in the mail. Somebody told me that once. I'm waiting on my outfit in the mail. Guys, I've heard it all. You just get started, okay? And a big part of that, like Laquita said, it's knowing what to say, and we will absolutely cover that. But first and foremost, I want to make sure your efforts are placed in the right direction, and that is with qualified agents only. Qualified agent, by the way, that means in our book, an agent that's done 8 or more buyer side transactions in the last year. 8 or more buyer side transactions in the last year. We get that list from the MLS, the local MLS, so an agent, appraiser, a broker, a title company most commonly, escrow. They will get us this list from the MLS. That's the best place. You may have to ask a few people to help you out. All right. Number 2 is buying the data. I would buy it if I had to. It costs $200-300 usually. There's data vendors you could look up on Google. Just make sure they're a good, reputable company, right? But there's tons of data vendors. And 3 is looking up on Zillow, Realtor.com, Google.com. Maybe you could have a kid around the block, somebody in the family or at high school help you do this for a few bucks, right? Just making a list off of Zillow. That's not a bad idea, but it's not the best one. But there's 3 ways to get that list: 8 or more buyer side transactions. If all else, if that's too much for right now, because I do want you guys to get started, most importantly, to implement, just look for full-time busy real estate agents, all right? Like, let's just assume they're not part-time. They don't just do listings, all right? They've obviously been at this for a while. Those are the right people, all right? 8 or more buyer sides. Before we move forward with the scripting, with the rest of the plan, give me another thumbs up, guys. Put a yes or a no. Are we all good? Does that make sense? Fish where the fish are, qualified agents only. Help me out here, guys. Donna, Charles, Brian, Abby, Gary, George, James, Lawrence, Nancy. Is this all adding up, guys? Yes. Sounds good to me. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Good. I'm happy that we're all on the same page here. All right. Good. Nothing but yeses. I love it. Cool. So number 1 is fish where the fish are. That is first and foremost number 1. All right. Abby says, but how do we bust their habitual referrals? Abby, would you mind clarifying? I'll answer your question. If you don't mind, like, clarifying for me. I think the way I'm reading your question is like, how do we also get business from them if they're referring to other people? Understand the idea here isn't necessarily to switch their lender. Like, we're not switching them from T-Mobile to Verizon, all right? We're not switching their current lender. We're supplementing their business. They're still going to give business Okay, yes. She said yes, meaning that they have their people. How do I become their people? Absolutely, Abby. We're going to cover that with these 6 steps. That's what's going to happen. They're probably not going to leave their current lender to work with you. You're going to become part of their roster. They're going to refer to the same 1, 2, 3, 4 people that they always do, but they'll also refer to you. And that is because they have enough business to go around. They're not in a place of like scarcity or desperation. They have an abundance of prospects and buyers. They could work with me, you, James, Fanny, Lawrence. They could work with all of us, and nobody's stepping on each other's toes. So quite simply, you don't have to think about this like, well, how do I convert them over, change their lender from that person to me? We just need to become part of their roster and their team to supplement what they're already doing. Over time, we'll build a better relationship. Over time, we'll help them and provide more value. Over time, Abby, they'll see how much their clients love you and how great of a team you really are, and you will get more and more business, especially as you implement the rest of Carl's plans. Honestly, guys, we're just for the rest of our class time, we're just going to keep going down Thor's hammer. I think that this is a great class. You guys are seeming to get a lot out of it. So we'll cover the other days of the week some other time, but just know everything else that we teach helps your agents, Abby. So as you are doing the database, the pipeline call, the pre-approved and looking calls that we teach and that we do, that Carl talks about, you will be helping your agents so much. It will be a no-brainer for them to want to give you more business. So we're going to cover that with the next few steps here. All right, we're going to get through it in the next like 14 minutes, guys. But does that make sense, Abby? And does that help you out? Okay, cool. So I will let Abby answer that. We'll make sure that she's all yes. All right, perfect. All right, so let's go through the rest of the plan here, and we're going to move through it pretty quick. Okay. So some great notes to take down. There's 6 things, right? Number 1 was fish where the fish are. Qualified agents only. Number 2 is scripting approach. How you reach out to the agent will make a significant difference in the percentage that actually want to meet with you. Absolutely. And to a certain degree, is this a numbers game, as they say? Yes. This is more so about doing it, about picking up the phone, reaching out to more people, having more conversations. Doesn't matter, guys. I might be like the best person on the planet at this, perhaps, but it doesn't matter. If I make 10 phone calls and Abby makes 100, Abby's going to get more meetings than me. No doubt about it. Can we all agree? All right. So to a certain degree, there is a numbers aspect to this. My job here is to make sure you're making the most out of your time, that you are getting the highest conversion for the amount of time, effort, and energy you're putting in. All right. So your scripting approach will make a world of difference. I've met some people that have literally landed 1 meeting for every 100 phone calls they've made, which is not good. No bueno, not average. And I've seen people get like us, we'll get 1, 2 meetings for every 5 or 10 calls we make. And that is great. That's a really strong, great average for people that do the right thing. All right, 1, 2, 3 meetings for every 5 to 10 calls we make. All right, pretty simple. But that's because we are saying the right thing. Now, when it comes to scripting, this is like a red pill, blue pill matrix. Like what you think would work does not. What you never would have thought would work absolutely does. This is the weirdest thing you're going to hear all day. I promise that if you bring up mortgages, rates, programs, or products, they will be far more apprehensive to meet with you. It's the same call they get from everybody. It's the same call they've heard hundreds of times. They really aren't interested usually in talking about mortgages. Essentially, if I called Abby to say, hey, Abby, this is Mike from Carl's Mortgage Company. I'd love to chat with you about what we do over here and how we help our agents, and we got the best rates in town, and we close super quick. That's me calling Abby, say, hey, Abby, let's talk about me. Let's talk about Mike. Let's talk about my company. That doesn't work, guys. It does not work. It doesn't work too well. What we want to do is talk about them. We want to make it all about them. All right. So, Laquita, when we talk about the scripting here, we're not going to talk about us, mortgages, rates, programs, products, or loans. All right. We're not going to pitch them. We're not going to sell them. We're not going to solicit them. What we're going to do is talk about them. So, here's the script. Hey, Laquita, it's Mike from Carl's Mortgage Company. How are you doing today? That's great. Well, your name keeps getting brought up in our office. I wanted you to know that and congratulate you. You must really be doing something right. Hey, when can we meet for 20 minutes so I can get to know you better, hear what you're doing, share a few ideas back and forth? I don't know, would Tuesday or Wednesday work better for you? That's it. That's it. Now, you could, if anything, make it shorter. Do not add to it, please. I see a diminished result when we add to it. I see sometimes an even better result when we take away. All right. So if anything, make it shorter and sweeter. Do not add to it. Nothing else. All we're doing is complimenting the agent and asking to meet to talk about them. Charlie Floor, I work with, booked over 20 meetings this month in January with top agents. Over 20. His script was, hey, it's Charlie. Keep hearing your name getting brought up. Congrats. When can we meet for 20 minutes online to talk about your business? That's all he says. So that's the script, guys. Hey, Donna, it's Mike from Carl's Great Mortgage Company. Keep hearing your name getting brought up. Congrats. You must be doing something right out there. I love to meet people like you. Hey, when can we meet for 20 minutes to talk more about your business, your story, share a few ideas? Would Tuesday or Wednesday work better? Notice it is all about Donna, right? I've heard great things about you. Congrats. I wanted you to know that. When can we meet to talk about your story, your business, share ideas? When can we do that? It is all about them. Now, from here, a few things happen. Some people just say yes. A lot of them will. Awesome. Some people will say no. Awesome. Take them off your list and forget about them. Forget about them. All right. If they just bluntly say no, we don't really even try to combat that or change their mind or give them a list of reasons why they should meet with me. I feel personally, guys, this is just me. I feel bad for them. I know how awesome we are and our mortgage company is. And if they pass up a meeting with us, so God bless them, because man, we're the best team in town. That's how I feel about ourselves at all times. Okay. I feel bad for every lender that passes up our coaching program. I feel bad for every agent that passes up our mortgage team. I know how incredible we are, and you guys need to have that same philosophy if you don't already. Okay. Believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, because this is just take it or leave it. Do you want to meet with me or not? Now, if they hit with an objection, like the main objections you guys are going to get, or I'm already working with somebody else, I'm all set, or hey, I'm too busy. All we're going to do is acknowledge the objection and ask again. So for example, if Donna said, Mike, I'm all set, man. Thanks for reaching out though, but I work with a ton of lenders, been doing this forever. Cool, Donna, you know what? I would have figured that before I called today. I would have been concerned if you weren't working with some great lenders. Hey, either way, I love to meet new people in our business, share some ideas. I love to get to know what's working for you, tell you what's working for me. Make a new friend in this business. Hey, either way, whether we work together or not, Donna, would you want to meet up sometime? People change their mind. People change their mind. If you even landed one extra, and guys, if you happen to be a manager, if we have a manager on this call, think about this for your team. Pass this along to your LOs. If they land one extra meeting a week because they changed one person's mind, that's an extra 52 meetings a year. What do we think business looks like after an extra 52 meetings a year? What do we think? That it's going to go down? An extra 52 meetings. That's the big difference. So I'm talking about an extra 52 meetings. I don't even think most people even go on 52 meetings. I'm talking about an extra 52 meetings. That's what sets people apart. So scripting, right? So we're going to acknowledge the objection and ask again. Yeah, I get it. You're busy. I assume that you would be. Hey, I only work with busy people and I'd love to meet you sometime. Can I keep reaching out until you're free? We're going to ask for permission to keep calling. Now, this is really big, guys. I know we only have like 7 minutes left, and I will go through the rest of the strategy quicker than the rest, all right? I like to prioritize my time to talk about what's most important for the people in front of me. And I think up until this point in time in the conversation, we've really covered like a lot of the gold, like so much great info up to this point. I'm going to go through the rest of the plan just to give it to you. All right, we're going to bullet point it out. But guys, the scripting and qualified agents is so important to understand. Are we all good here? Does the scripting make sense? What to say and why it works? Give me, and it's okay to say no. Don't say yes if you don't mean it, guys. Help me out here. Help me help you. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Abby says, yep. Awesome, guys. Look, my mom, I don't know if I mentioned this. My mom is a lender. She was shaking in her boots the first time she did this. She actually put it off for weeks. She thought she was going to be a hot shot. My mom used to be a stockbroker and, oh, yeah, cold calls. Oh, yeah, whatever, Mike. I'm going to tear this up. She put it off for weeks. And I didn't realize it for a while until the point because, I got another training today. Oh, I got to learn about this. And, I didn't realize she was putting it off because she was scared. The first time she did this, she landed the first call she made was a top agent that did 36 transactions by her side the year before she met her. And she met with my mom. Easy peasy like that. I hope you guys have that same experience. But can you imagine that fear my mom felt for weeks, dreading to pick up the phone, and the first call she makes, The woman goes, yeah, sure, let's meet. Let's talk. Like, there's nothing to be. The reward to risk ratio here, guys, is what I call parabolic, meaning the risk is like non-existent. The risk is that they say no, they don't want to meet with you. Okay. Like, nothing changes. Nothing changes. Nothing bad. You're not going to get hurt, fall down a flight of stairs, catch COVID. You're not going to get bad review. You're not going to lose money. I mean, at the end of the day, nothing bad happens. There is no real risk to this. Okay. The reward is that you make a friend that now becomes a business partner that gives you 10, 20, 30, 40 deals in the next year because they can. And you make 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 grand from that agent. That's the best case scenario. The risk is like non-existent. All right, it's parabolic reward to risk ratio. Let's just do it. Nothing bad's going to happen. Only good things happen, right? So just for the sake of this strategy, I do not want to leave you guys hanging. I never would do that. So let's just bullet point the rest of the plan out. 1 was qualified agents only. 2 was using the right scripting approach. 3, now that we're on the meeting, like this, we're virtually online on Zoom, or we're in front of them drinking coffee. It's going to be 15 to 30 minutes of us just asking questions for the most part. That's how you build rapport. That's how you build a relationship. That's how you get to know somebody. That's how you help somebody out. I don't know how to help anybody. I wouldn't know how to help any of you. I wouldn't know how to help Carl. I wouldn't know how to help an agent. I don't know how to help a friend. I don't even know how to help myself unless I ask the right questions. Once I ask the right questions, then I can come up with solutions. But until then, I don't know what I'm doing, okay? Same thing with real estate agents. Why pitch them on something you don't know if they even care about remotely at all? They don't care about your down payments assistance program, why brokers are better, non-Q. They don't care. They want to talk about them and their business and their goals. So that's what we talk about. Questions like, what's your story? How'd you get to where you are today? Tell me more about that. Tell me about your team and your company. How do you bring in all this business? What are you doing? What are your goals, your challenges? Where do you want to improve? It's a series of questions that are all about the agent. My mom said she would try to get invited to their next barbecue. She's trying to make a friend. She wants to know, what do they do for fun when they're not working? Tell me about your background, your family, right? Getting to know the agent. That's the key here. That's the sauce. Carl calls it FROG, F-R-O-G, F-R-O-G, family, recreation, occupation, and goals. Family, recreation, occupation, and goals. That's all we talk about. Family, recreation, occupation, and goals. Frog. Carl calls this frogging. So we're going to frog them, all right, by just talking about them. That's the 15 to 30-minute meeting. From there, number 4 is ask for the business. So we want to ask for the referrals. We want to ask to work together. So I'd say, hey, Tony, this was great. Man, I love working with people like you. Who can we help you take to the closing table this month? Nobody, I get it. Can we audition for your next one? Can we count on you for your next referral? Love to work with you. You've got to ask. You've got to ask. If you don't ask, you won't get. They're too busy giving all their referrals to the people that are asking. This is literally how it works. We know because this is what we do. All right? Every time we ask, often enough, we get it. And we know if we didn't, that deal would have gone someplace else. But we got it because we asked, right? Abby said family, occupation, goals, and what am I missing? Recreation. So what they do for fun, Abby. What they do for fun, their hobbies and interests. So 4 is ask for the business. Hey, who can we pre-approve to make sure they're a great use of your time? Hey, who can we help you take to the closing table? We're going to ask to work together. This is not pushy. It's not salesy. It's not aggressive. No one's going to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe Abby said it would be great to work together. She loves working with people like me. And who can she help me close? What a jerk. I can't believe she did that. No one is thinking that in their right mind. They are never thinking that, guys. Just go ahead and ask. 5 is follow up. So we consistently call the agent once a week for 12 weeks after we've met. This is where the magic happens. We're just staying top of mind. We're reminding them that we're there to help. We're reminding them that we like them and that we had a great meeting. We stick with them for 12 weeks. At that point, we'll stop calling them. In our data, they'll give you business in 12 weeks, or they probably never will. That's where we get the 10 to 20% conversion ratio. All right, 5 is follow up. 6, just to wrap this up, guys, we're right here on the top of the hour. 6 is do this consistently. Like all good things in life, I don't think anybody's health changes when you eat one salad. I don't think anybody's life changes when you jog around the block once. I don't think anybody's business changes when they meet one agent or they make one phone call. That's not going to change anybody's life. We want to do these things consistent. Like Christian Jameson I work with, She's been doing this since 2015. She's never stopped doing this, meeting agents every week. Guys, she made over 1.5 million last year in commissions, right? We're so proud of her. So she inspires so many people because she just follows the plan. So there we go. How do we do today, guys? I have so much fun doing this. I get so jazzed up, and I really appreciate all of you guys communicating and engaging, asking some awesome questions. I'm sure helped each other out. How did we do today, guys? Was this a fun class, and did you get a lot out of this? Let me know in the chat box so I can pass it along to Carl. Great call. Thank you, George. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate you being here. If you guys want to do a one-on-one call, I'd be happy to do that for you. No catch, no charge at all. I mean, love to chat with you guys one-on-one to get to know you better and to really help you out. You can go to www.loanofficerstrategycall.com. It's a loanofficerstrategycall.com. Feel free. It's just a free value. It's a service we do over here for the industry. Give us a buzz and we can chat at loanofficerstrategycall.com. I love doing this. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for being here and for tuning into our material. Big shout out to Valerie for putting this together. It is amazing the way that you are helping the industry, and I just want to give you a big kudos for all the amazing things that you do. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate you so much. Give us a look on loanofficerstrategycall.com. Find me on Facebook, Mike Cardacia. I'd love to connect with you guys. Abby says, do we have recordings of other previous lunches? Check with Valerie. Valerie's amazing. She's been putting this together. I'm just filling in for Carl while he's doing some meetings this month. So if not, we totally should be. But thank you, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you next Wednesday at the same time. Take care.